Um, Oops.
Good morning, everyone. Everyone here, everyone there, everyone in between, wherever you are tuning in from. Thank you very much. This is I'm here at Ananda Buddhist Center here in Rockhampton, and doing the regular Sunday 11 o'clock meditation, followed by a question and answer. So uh, those of you who are online, please Zoom, feel free to type your questions if you have. But I think we have sufficient questions from the audience here already, if you haven't got one. But thank you for joining me, and lovely part of Australia. Always lovely, never cold here, so sometimes hot, I'm told, but uh, lovely Sangha. Thank you, Ananda Buddhist Center, for having me and everyone. Yeah. So today we're going to join in everyone to sit and do the calm abiding and special insight meditation combined. Those who know how to combine the insight meditation, of course, you can still use the breathing, either simple breathing or counted rounds of forward counting or reverse counting. But it's maybe simple, do the simple inhalation, exhalation, and then use the awareness of the impermanence of all things. How sentient beings grasp impermanent things as permanent things, and then hold them stuck in the past, still they're there. So this is a very important compassion we have, how to forgive others, for they don't know these things. Not because they're wrong, because they don't know how to have this wisdom and insight. Whatever things we think they're wrong, it's completely negligible when they have this wrong view that's just completely beleaguering them. And that's quite a majority of sentient beings, not a few minority. So then develop compassion with insight of impermanence, no self, and of course, unsatisfactory body that's full of suffering. People grasp it as me and mine, color, creed. They do like clinging to them when they are not, when they're merely composites, transient collection, like a disposable party plate. But yet they think they are their favorite china, and then hold them as real when it is not. So we will first do the prayers. I'm sure everybody knows the prayers. If you can screen share it, would be good for the Zoom audience. Those who are here already got the prayers. Buddha Dharma Acharya So we'll do the meditation in 3 slots of 10 minutes, during which you primarily focus on the four S. The first S is the stillness of your posture, of your overall gaze of eyes. And then second S is your sincere motivation, your wholehearted attention so that you do not become demotivated or distracted and not wanting to do more. Just stay very present, sincerely in believing that we are all helping one another, supporting each other. Believe in that and stay with that sincere intention. And then third S is your attention should be very serene. Serene in as far as calm, abiding, as well as citing this insight of the teachings of the Buddha, the enlightened one. The four seals of Dharma are true, both noble truths, how they are so true they are. And relish, let your mind stay very serenely aware. The self is a merely label. Life is suffering, but life doesn't truly exist from its own side. So try to stay very serene in canvassing the entire teaching and try to boost your awareness of them. With this stillness of the posture, sincerity of motivation, serenity of attention, the technique should be simple. Just follow the in-breath, out-breath as reference to develop this calm, serene awareness without letting your dullness, tiredness, laziness, forgetfulness, any negative thoughts distract you. Use the in and out breath to calm them and to increase the sharpness of your penetrative insight. joining who are doing our weekend retreat here with me. And so today we are doing this question and answer with everyone. So thank you for joining me. I can see quite a few familiar faces, as well as maybe some others whose label I don't know. uh, uh, Thank you very much. We have quite a few questions here. So if those of you online haven't got to getting any questions, that's fine. We got plenty of questions because the audience here has been tuning in quite a few days here. So I want to make sure that I can cover all the questions. One moment, the Zoom just died, so I don't know what happened. Hopefully, this will remain impermanent. It was good when it went off. I said that's a good realization. Everything's impermanent, including Zoom. Like, so there's one question here. Can you please give a reference to read and understand 4 powers to change past perceptions? Yeah, this is came from the topic of the talk that I gave on Friday night. The 4 powers to change the past perception is a very important Buddhist concept when you confess, purify your past misdeeds. So they usually say power of reliance, power of regret, power of resolution, power of restoration. I deliberately choose these 4R words so that people can remember. But otherwise they get power of reliance, power of remorse, still regret, same R. And the third one is power of promise. So power of promise and resolution, same, isn't it? And then fourth one is power of restoration. So the reference for this is, if you look at any topic in Buddhist teaching on compassion, they will usually give the power of reliance is the triple gem. Generally speaking, triple gem. If you practice Vajrasattva, usually Vajrasattva. If not, the refuge and the bodhicitta and Vajrasattva as embodiment of the refuge. Because Vajrasattva is Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, all embodied together. Or if you do 35 Buddhas compassion, that would be the power of reliance. So any book that has teach subject on compassion, they usually say four powers. I can't think of one particular book, except mine, except one I wrote on healing relationship. There's a big chapter on the how to heal past. So that's that. The first question. Okay, and the second one is, how much time should an experienced meditator spend in meditation sessions on calm abiding, and insight meditation? Yeah, if the person is a experienced meditators, then the length of session could be more. That is, the number of sessions can be more, and the duration could be shorter. So the length could be as short as 10-15 minutes. But you can have sub-sessions, like we were doing half an hour meditation there, but we did in 3 slots of 10 minutes. So you can slightly choose a different technique, whether you want to do forward counting or reverse counting, or particularly think of impermanence, all things, or whatever you might do. So if you're just doing calm abiding, the technique is mainly one-pointed. If you do special insight, mainly you try to serve with awareness of the right view, the four seals of the Dharma, and contains the four noble truths. Yeah, so the session could be, if you're in a retreat situation, where you are not going any outside the boundary, there's two types of retreat. External retreat boundary is the physical retreat boundary. And the inner retreat is where you make a schedule. You make a schedule when you will start, when you have a break, and so on. So in our 10-day retreat, we have at least 6 sessions. And most sessions are hour and a half. Some sessions 2 hours with teaching and meditation. And a good half of that is always meditation. But sometimes we allow maybe 10, 15 minutes walking in the middle of the walking, in addition to another 3 slots of 15 minutes of meditation. So I think you have to, if you're very experienced, of course, it's not so much the duration and the length, because you're always aware, even when post-meditation, even you're in post-meditation, you should still be aware. Post-meditation time is a lot more time than meditative time. So, but if you have the right view, you can see the transitoriness, impermanence of all things. So you're not meditating, but you are meditating. When you have the experience. When you're listening to teaching, you think you are not meditating, but if you are, focus on the right view, so every one of you could be doing different meditation while using the talk as the kind of a center stage, but otherwise you could be meditating on inside, on the impermanence. You could be doing that. So our mind is completely capable of staying present in meditation, even in not in meditative state, particularly in Vajrayana tradition. It puts emphasis on post-meditation more than actual meditation. Why? Because we like to spend more time post-meditation. And we want to do as minimum as possible in formal meditation because we think it's damn hard. As soon as you sit half an hour, you feel you're distracted. But you're sitting around the dinner table 2 hours, you never get distracted. Nobody says, I can't eat this dinner, I'm distracted. No, I wonder why. So you could be meditating on the impermanence of the food that's on plate. Only a couple of minutes, couple of hours ago, it was in the freezer, perhaps in the garden, and then now it's all in the and then about to become your part of your lung and liver and whatnot. And the nutrient of it maybe, quite a bulk of it will go waste in 4 hours' time. You will see what impermanence of food. Yes. And food goes to the toilet. Yes, so you can have inside meditation, even toileting. Yes, you wouldn't know when you're going to gain the realization. Wow! Yes, there are lots of Indian Mahasiddhas. You wouldn't believe how many of them realize at very odd times. On the meditation cushion, they had pain and they had distraction and dullness and doubt and anger and stubbornness and tiredness and all of that. But when they learn to accompany the associate, the right view, some of them realize a right view when the teachers hit the sandal on his head. So these days, there are not many teachers daring to do that. So you can't, chances are very low. So you might get someone else hit that sandal on your head. Yeah, you never know when you're going to realize the right view. Yeah. Milarepa realized many things, but he was wearing a rag. He wasn't wearing proper clothes because he just didn't care. He just saw so renunciate. So he had his little, I would say, coat or something in Tibet, and then he went to toilet, and then the wind was so strong, his coat blew, and he grabbed. He says, "Damn it, I'm so attached." He realized how attached he was. Even the wind blew his clothing. He didn't want it to go off his body. He realized how attached he was. So you should not just put emphasis on the formal meditation and its duration and length, but also during everyday encounter, that even though someone was really relatively nice at the beginning of the meeting, all of a sudden they become aggressive. Oh, there's impermanence. Instead of thinking he's aggressive to you. It's really good. Oh, there goes this. And you don't get offended by his change. And you can change too. You can change too. Be patient. It's good. Then his aggression disappeared. You can make the effect of aggression, practice patience, become pacified. Shanti. Practice of patience, go shanti. When you make peace with aggression, then the aggression is impermanent, turn into peace. But if you do aggression with aggression, it becomes violent and mutually destructive. It's also impermanent, but getting or the worse. See? So there's lots of opportunity to practice. So, but yeah, still, depending to your physical fitness. Some people can't sit long, so you got to take even it's 5 minutes break. Get up and stand up for a while, stretch your leg, and come sit down. So if you're feeling very sort of cross at the session, even though you want to sit half an hour, but you barely in 10 minutes you are in pain, you can't do it. You should get up and have a little stretch, but not make the break long. Mini break, it's called. So don't feel bad about having a short break, except in groups. Of course, when you're in a group, of course, it affects other people. So you try to be as considerate. Even that, if you did kindly, I'm sure they don't mind. They don't mind. They say, I know where I'm to. I'm like that too. Some people are very difficult, somebody getting up and down and like that. But it's good for the Sangha to have different Sangha members or limping or who are not managing. We should practice compassion. It's an excellent opportunity. People didn't didn't come to put a show on the stage. People come to show how struggling sentient being they are. Okay, so that's question number 2. Third is, if mind is unreal and all is impermanent, why is it said there is a continuing mind stream of I that lacks inherent existence? There is no mind stream of I. We think it is mind stream of I. But if you realize that the mind is unreal, then there is not a stream that will continue. But only deluded consciousness has unfinished propensities that drags them life after life after life. But when you come to realize the mind, then the realization of mind ultimately gains the Dharmakaya, the nature of the mind as it is. So then there is no continuity. To say there is an end is not a Buddhist thing. Buddha never said there was this beginning, there will end this. But there is a time you realize the emptiness of self, that you could not find identical. Mind couldn't be found identical to body or feeling or name or gender or anything. So by the time you eliminate all of that, then you are left with mind. And when you look for the mind, you couldn't find it. So where's the stream that will continue? So when you actually realize the ultimate meaning of all things, then you become enlightened. The enlightened being don't have a mind stream that continues, drags on by karma and affliction, because they don't have that. So you don't, so therefore there is no mind stream that continues if you realize the unrealness of the mind. If you realize the nature of the mind, then there is no continuum that will follow. What is continuum is that grasping to the mind as me and mine lingers on. When that grasper is not there, how could be grasped? Hope that answers a little bit deep question. Thank you. This question might be related. Does the mind relatively exist? Is awareness in the mind? Does relatively exist? Does the mind relatively exist in the awareness? I think the question is not clear. Does the mind relatively exist? Is awareness in the mind? Does the mind ultimately exist? That's the three questions. Does the mind relatively exist? Question number one. Of course, yes. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking this. Is awareness in the mind? Of course, you must be listening to me. Does the mind ultimately exist? No. Ultimately, nothing exists. Ultimately, nothing exists. Because if ultimately mind exists, then it is the biggest controversy, biggest contradiction. Ultimately, nothing exists. And so that's that. And the next three questions: how old are the Tibetan teachings on the 16 exercises of mindful breathing? Where did the above teachings originate from? This is the topic of the teaching we did yesterday, which is the 16 different meditation on the breathing exercises that correspond to the realization of the Four Noble Truths and Four Foundation Mindfulness. These are very old teachings. This teaching came directly from the Four Foundation Mindfulness Sutra. Anapanasati, they call it in the general Buddhist world, but in Tibetan we call Tenpai Nyawara Shalpai Shi, means Four Foundation Mindfulness Sutra. And that's the actually same sutra in Pali and Sanskrit. And this text that I'm teaching from is a commentary. And in Tibetan, even the original teaching didn't come to Tibet until in the late 8th, early 9th century. Only it's translated into Tibetan from Sanskrit. So it's old as when it was translated. But the people who compiled the commentaries were probably good because all the commentators are Indian masters, Indian great Ananda and great Indian masters. Like you will see the writing on the 16 breathing exercise in the Vishuddhimagga by Buddha Ghosha of the 5th century in Pali tradition. In Sanskrit tradition, it's no later than that. It's because they say the people like Nagarjuna came in 2nd century, so that's 300 before Buddha Ghosha. So they're all sourcing the same sutta, same discourse. But when I read through this text, it's got much more depth and details that's not in the Anapanasati Sutra, because it's a root text and these are commentaries. So they're as old as gold. And like this text is a very big volume. It's called Miscellaneous. and when you read through every line, then you discover all the details. And there's a big chapter on the 37 factors of enlightenment, of which this meditation on the Four Foundation Mindfulness is covered. Okay, then we have more questions here. Understanding emptiness. As soon as the individual perceives them and they then label something in their mind, it becomes real. Therefore, that which is conceptualized must be conditioned. Exactly. Whatever is conditioned is impermanent because it relies on causes conditions that are only relevant to the perceiver. Yeah, these are all points. And then understanding grasping. Yeah. So just before moving on to that, those points, how things are labeled. As soon as you label, then thing becomes the object. Like a child, it's a boy, becomes a boy. Yeah, so when you first have a conventional relative name, what constitutes a boy or girl, so then you call a boy, it's boy. And then it's the boy, because if it's a boy, then there are too many boys, you can't tell which boy. So you have to name Roger. Also Roger, you can't tell which Roger. There's so many Rogers. And then the middle name and surname, and still not enough. You need 200 points to prove Roger. Yes, yes. So the Roger is not boy. No, Roger is not found in the boy. Boy is not found in the Roger. You have to find birthday. Oh, yeah, that will take a few points. Passport, yeah, that'll make you a little more important. Driving license. Oh gosh, what if you don't drive? Yeah. 200 points, you have to prove that you are you. You need 200 labels. 200 points. That shows that it's not just a label, not just a label, but you need significant other points to prove that you are you. That shows how much we are not free. We are merely labeled. So even person calls your name, you should not mind it. Yeah, people call names. Some people get really upset. They think that's me. It's merely label. It's fine. You can put on any hat. When you call, you wear a beanie. You don't mind what color it matters. So we are all merely labeled, merely conceptualized, relatively true, but ultimately not. Second point, understanding grasping. It is true that we seek only because we are triggered by a habit. Yeah. If you don't have any habitual instincts, things can't trigger in the same way. It will trigger, but you wouldn't quite know how it works. And second, and then it is true that we mistake the seeking, the drive to seek as the end result. Therefore, we can never be satisfied because the pleasure that we perceive from the end result is only momentary. Yeah, these points are not so much questions, but next questions helps us to clarify all of that. It says, is the intention to have no proactivity? My approach is often to plan and then imagine an outcome. From teachings yesterday, I see that I have an attachment to the outcome, an aversion to it not happening as planned. How can we desire and plan, yet also let go of outcome while still progressing? These points are very important with regard to desire and attachment. Why desire? Why desire is one of the three root afflictions. We desire things without knowing the thing we desire is largely impermanent, maybe not actually desirable. So we're desiring undesirable ones, even though what we think we are desiring is relatively desirable. but soon it is impermanent. Its desirability may not have the lasting component. But when we gain the thing, what we desired, it's very different from wanting something and having it. You're often fooled by perceptions. And of course, if the thing proved to be desirable as you desired and put all the planning and effort to get it, but there are many factors you could not consider happening to the thing that you desire. The thing itself is conditioned. Thing itself is controlled by others, and not because they want to control, but it's dependent on others. And so, what we want to do, or of the thing we desire, is totally dependent on what others desire as well. If we desire something just on our own, and we don't have to consult with anybody else, that would be quite a different matter. A lot of people do that. They don't want to listen to parents. They don't want to listen to friends. They don't want to do. So there are a lot of individuals who go and burn their fingers quite a lot without listening to anyone. They never knew this. They're never going to listen to that what you're desiring is not untenable and not possible, even on a relative level. Even on a relative level. So it's very, very normal. Even if what you got in the end as a result of pursuing, desiring, planning, and scheming, and putting lots of time and effort and energy, and you make all the investment, time and energy. And even when you got it at last, you say, "Oh, great! This is so good," and so good that you attach to it. So you become so much a servant to it, or slave to it. So then, of course, so the thing that we desire and we get attached to the outcome. That is why the outcome is not entirely ours. That we think it's ours. We think it's my action. We think I'm the one who made it possible. So that's why we need insight. Even the outcome is dependently originated. It is not arisen from us, independent of everyone else. It came from many, many non-me and other people's input, and so on. So therefore, to become attached, the possessor of that, thinking it's mine and getting really attached to it is a delusion. So the insight is that everything is dependently originated. So whatever happened, Buddha said, everything happens, and he said that all the happening has causes. Yadharma hetu prabhava hetun dikshan tathagato ayavadat dikshanchayo niroda evam badi mahasharma. Not only the Buddha has said everything has causes, but he also said everything can be uncaused. Yeah, the one who said that there is a way to uncause the cause is only spoken by the great ascetic, Mahasharamana. Great ascetic is the Buddha is the one who said. So that means everything has causes that comes with maybe one is attached to it. The attachment is not the outcome. And striving and doing and getting it is the cause. And we might think, I own it because the cause I created, and we become attached to the outcome. Now that if you're becoming attached and becoming a cause of suffering, which is quite obvious, lots of parents are like that. They put many 20, 30 years of bringing up children and put all effort and direction to kids to become this and that. And so one might even succeed to shape the future of your child's progress, education, and that. But the children actually feel we are a bit of a possessor. We are so controlling. They don't feel that much helped. They feel almost like interfered. So that's why you need to know how to uncause it. Now you should let go. You should let go. Remember, one of the meditations yesterday was to let go. And let go. And what you best achieved, that you created, and you may have a lot of role to make them reach them where they are, but you should now let go and have no possessive attachment to it. Yeah. So because of I and me and I did, so I, me, and mine are usually the center of all the problems. For a Buddhist person, they will see the true origin of suffering is ego and a craving and grasping of it. When we do not let go of the ego from attachment to that outcome, all the effort become cause of conflict and suffering because you're not able to let go and dedicate and give to the thing, to the cause that you have put the effort for. But we want to keep it as ours. So that attachment is poison. And if you did not succeed, of course, there are a lot of people who put lots of effort instead of getting the outcome. They have wasted a lot of energy effort. They failed in effort, because what you planned didn't happen. It's not happening. So a person who has insight meditation shouldn't have aversion to not happening, because there is nothing to happen anywhere. Even great outcome is not an outcome. In the end, there's no gain. So you should let go even the outcomes. In the end, even the good outcome you thought you have to develop detachment. Now, when you have no outcome, it's good you don't have the attachment. Maybe we have attachment of aversion. We say, oh, damn it, I put all this effort and again, didn't get anywhere. Like that. So it's very good to have the ability to see straight away that even outcome can become big disaster if you're attached to it. Even big loss can be great profit if you realize detachment from it. Yeah? But then to deliberately experience loss, he has to give up everything so that he gained the realization. Everybody's trying to trying to feel good or feel wealthy or whatever, and then they are wealthy of suffering. Buddha became, completely renunciate with nothing, but he became possessor of all the wisdom without needing to possess anything. He became the spring. He became the fountainhead of wisdom by renouncing, by letting go. Yeah, letting go is the letting go because it's not yours, and you also don't exist. So if firstly you don't exist, secondly things don't exist. So why you want to, But relatively speaking, we are still on this plane, and we have attachment, and so because you are on the path of struggling beginner, or you're on the path of mediocre, middling, some days you have no attachment, you can totally let go, no problem. And you thought you were going over it, all of a sudden you relapsed. Then again you're suffering again in the pain, So why? Because we are on a path, we haven't reached the stage of path of seeing. Path of seeing is vipassana. Vipassana means special insight. This is not a form of meditation. This is the actual cream of the realization of meditation. Most people don't have vipassana. They're doing call them vipassana, but they don't have vipassana. They don't even have a feeling that the body is composite. They think it's me. They really think they are the body. They think they're the culture. They think they're the gender. And yet people think they're doing vipassana. Vipassana is realization. It's an advanced level of becoming utter. Merely watching the sensation at the tip of the nose, and those are not vipassana. They're called vipassana technique, but Actually, vipassana means seeing. V is intensified, means extraordinary seeing. That's why they call insight. The insight is like an opener of eye that you never have. It's becoming a seer. What is the seer? The seer of the truth as it is. Seer of the truth that ordinary people have no eyes to see it. If you look in the sky, you can't see stars. Why not? Because they are there. Yeah. Yeah. What is the condition? Exact opposite. The daylight. The daylight is so bright, yeah. Daylight is so bright, you couldn't see the star. Yeah. So like that, our grasping to things, yeah, our grasping to things as real is so strong. So strong. We couldn't see they are not. So therefore, the vipassana, the insight is the seer. The seer are the what do we call only the munis or saint arhats. Arhats are the seers. Arhats are the seers. We are not seeing. We have not the sight yet. We hear about it. We still go over our head. It should go through our head and break it into pieces, but it's not. Our head is so hard to break into. Hard-headed. Skull is too hard to break through. Our skull is very hard to break through. If the teachings go there, you can see, when you see the truth, people usually go like this. All of a sudden, they're checking whether there is me or not. They straight away have a fright. But if they're still them, the seer. The seers have this incredible, it transcends ordinary seeing. Then it doesn't see ordinary things that people desire, desirable, or whatever. They don't. They see when the Prince Siddhartha had the renunciation, after seeing the old age, sickness, and death, when he come home, all the people in the palace, he could see skeletons. He couldn't see them desirable, young people working, serving, making things delightful in the palace. He couldn't see any of them. He could see everybody's skeleton. Now he can see the star. He can see the star because the condition of grasping them as desirable is not in his mind. Yeah. He's not craving. He's not desiring. When you don't desire any particular thing, the thing doesn't look appealing to you. Instead, it looks completely opposite. So the Diamond Cutter Sutra give 9 similes of developing insight, and one is the star. The star, because we can't see the star until the daylight grasping to appearance is real. The star will not be seen. So everything has to be almost dark enough. Everything has to become invisible. Everything has become invisible to see the star, isn't it? So you have to develop a sight, that's the wisdom that sees everything as not truly existing, just merely conceived, merely conceptualized, merely labeled. Beside that, none of these things are there from its own side.
Is that essentially like deconditioning? I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah, you can call it deconditioning. You can call it deconditioning because you basically deconstruct everything. Yeah, that's why you're just dismantling the wheel from the rim and the axle and spokes and nuts and bolts, pieces of timber, pieces of metal, pieces of wire. By the time you take all of them, where is the wheel? So then you don't see any wheel. You don't see any wheel. There's no wheel. There's no wheel is found in any of them. Even the rim is not rim. Now you decondition everything. Even the rim is not rim. They call shredding. You shred your wrong views. Shred all the wrong view. You're listening to teaching to shred the wrong views, and then get the inside. Then pluralize your suffering. Then your suffering is not there to be worried about. Your suffering is an illusion. You are thinking that you've been so badly treated by somebody is complete exaggeration of your egoistical aversion and anger towards the person. So when you come to know that, then you have thrown the yoke out of your neck and you're free. You are no longer enslaved by the wrong views, thinking they did this to me and that sort of thing. You don't realize they are themselves completely conditioned by many other adversarial circumstances. Poor thing. You think like that, and then you dispel the daylight-like apparent reality, and then you see the stars. Then you see only star. You only see this. You see only stars. You don't see anything else. Not because they are not, but they are not in your realm. So because when you see the inside, you see the stars twinkle. You have this realization. To the extent of how conditioned things are, and so it's good thing about it, understanding how conditioned things are. All that are conditioned are impermanent, and Buddha said this. All that are conditioned is impermanent. Means impermanent. This flower is conditioned. This clock is conditioned. This laptop is very conditioned, particularly if there's no power. It's laptop. It's not on my lap. Why call laptop? I could put this piece of paper on my lap. No, it should be a laptop, because that's what the relative meaning of laptop means. It's not a laptop. It's I don't know. It's a tabletop right now. It's a mirror. I can see Phil here. I can see Greg here. I can see Ben here. Hello. I can see Anne here. I can see Pirangula here. I can see all kinds of little writings there. But that's not because they are there, because I'm conditioned to read English. If I haven't been taught to read English, I can say nothing. I can't make a sense of anyone unless I can recognize the face. The names mean nothing. How conditioned we are. How conditioned we are. So good thing about this is how do you bring insight meditation when things are all conditioned? Somebody is a little distraught and upset, crying or whatever. Then you can see there are many causes, conditions that are putting them into that crisis. Then you develop compassion. They think it's all done to him or her by them, and they don't realize everything is conditioned by many factors. Even his doing is to do with many other unfortunate circumstances and conditions. He's not able to take everything into account. He only tried to pinpoint one as the cause of problem, unitarily, independently. And then we in our society always try to look for one as the cause of the problem, isn't it? We never find, but we pretend we did, We pretend we did, but did it solve the problem? No, it's just a problem that's completely unsolved. It's just a deluded way to think we resolved the problem. Did it solve the problem? On the surface, it did, but deep down, it didn't, because That's what the Buddha said. This is pathetic way. So he said, everything is interdependent. Those who don't know everything is interdependent, we have to practice compassion to them. Ourselves should just little green. Again, interdependent. Everything is interdependent again. And so you do not see someone independent cause of your distress. Incredible power to not to do the anger. The only anger that you're allowed to have is not having this right view early enough. Why didn't I have this right view until now? Yeah, that's right, yes. Not too late. Come on, you've got a few more years to go. Keep on doing the right view every day. You haven't lost everything. You can compensate yourself all the time and energy you've lost in thinking everything real and done by him or independently or whatever. All those wrong views, these wrong views are just as useful because you can't have a right view independent of wrong views. Because so you couldn't be so biased to right view without having suffered enough wrong view. So every now and then you see some people, they become now your obvious object of compassion. There is one I used to be, and now how many are there to understand him or her and have the insight and have compassion supported by wisdom? Usually, most people don't have the wisdom. They have a small kind of tokenism compassion, and their compassion is very, very miserable compassion because it becomes fatigued very soon, and then they become resentful. Oh, I have to do that. I gave you all of this. I did you all of that. But you cannot give anything unless someone receives it. So you should be very grateful that if someone receives. You don't have a receiver, what can you give? At the beginning, people say, I want someone to give. You wanted someone to give to. But then when you're attached to the giver, giving and the giver and the given, then you start to do the resentment. Even though you're giving to the very person or very cause you're given to, you develop attachment. So that means you have the wrong view, thinking, I'm the one who gave. What did you give? What you gave also came from others. So you're just a conduit of giving. You are not the giver. You just pass the thing from here to there that came to you. So what did you give? To possess that what we gave is ours is the fallacy. So therefore, if you have insight meditation, you should think, oh, I gave only what others gave me. So I don't have any right to be the possessor, I'm just a humble conduit of passing other people's kindness, generosity, whether it's knowledge or skill or whatever it is, you have emulated, you have learned to do that for others. And then we become detached. Otherwise, we think it's I did it mine. We don't realize how conditioned things are, how dependent they are. Say if you are, like we have to bow down to the seat before we teach 3 times, so that we don't think I'm the teacher. We think that I'm a disciple of my teachers, and hopefully I could pass this knowledge that came from my teachers to them. So we are not teaching anything original. Only Buddha can teach the original. Only Buddha can teach. Only Buddha is the teacher of inconceivable merit. Others are just conduit. This has to be, when we recite the prayer, by virtue of giving and the like. What is giving? You may like I'm teaching or something. One shouldn't. I'm not teaching anything. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the postman. I'm just an Australian postman with a red hat and a little motorbike. Oh, everything. The message came from the Buddha. You should think like that. Otherwise, there's danger of teaching. I'm teaching as ridiculous. Yes. Yeah. That's why we offer our prayer to our lineage. We offer our thanks to the succession of masters and their, worshipping spiritual ancestors. We have a list of teachers, and all of them historical. Historical in the sense Tibetan Buddhism started in 8th century. 8th century, Buddhism was strong in India. It's all over India. Even not just the where Buddhism first grew in, then all the way to Kashmir, Afghanistan, you name it, all the Central Asian republics, Buddhism was just everywhere. Tibet was the last place to reach. Why? Because it's geographically very inaccessible, very high, very cold, arid, bleak, language, culture, and the people were pretty wild. Yes. They're not interested in foreign religion. They are proud of their own animistic beliefs, of their own indigenous belief. By that time, Buddhism was as well established in China. They had already translated some Buddhist texts. In places like Turkey, Buddhism was there. Afghanistan, everywhere. But when the Tibetans finally did get tamed by the teachings, with the royal patronage, Tibetan kings were really, once they realized what the Dharma is all about, because the kings were trying to rule the people by a kind of good law and order, but they couldn't find a model better than the Dharma. And then they adopted as the policy of the country. And when then they put all the resources to send young boys to study the Sanskrit language in Tibet and in India. By that time, Kashmir was peak of Buddhism. There was no Muslim, remember? Muslim came to India only in early 11th century. Before that, Buddhism was everywhere, and Hinduism and Buddhism probably coexisted. Because much of the pre-Buddhist, many of the teachings of the Buddhism, conduct of Buddhism, it was already in Indian pre-Buddhist Indian behavior. Non-violence was nothing Buddhism. Non-violence is not Buddhism. Non-violence exists before Buddha. But the right view, is distinctive flavor of Buddhism. Non-violence, vow of chastity, all of these existed before Buddha came. Yeah. It was already there, and Buddha adopted quite a few of them. And when Tibetans received it, by that time Buddhism was everywhere. Mongolia is the only country that received Buddhism after Tibet. Otherwise, every country, even in Southeast Asia, as in Indonesia, they built Borobudur in that early century, in the 6th, 7th centuries. Buddhism was, I wouldn't be surprised if it was in Australia as well. Definitely was already in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. Even the 11th century Indian monk Atisha went to Sumatra to receive some teachings, So Buddhism was everywhere, Buddhism was everywhere. And so we all owe to our past ancestors, Indians first, then to even the great Buddha Ghosha is an Indian monk who went to Sri Lanka. Even the Bodhidharma, is a Bodhidharma Zen. He's an Indian monk. He's an Indian monk who went to China. Atisha is a Bangladesh. He came to Tibet. Padmasambhava came from Bihar. Some people think I'm from Afghanistan, but that's wrong. And you name it, Nagarjuna come from Maharashtra, or maybe even more south. All Indian teachers, and we honor them because they themselves, quite a lot of them were prophesied by the Buddha. They just didn't spring up from nowhere. They were prophesied by the Buddha. In particularly Nagarjuna was prophesied by Buddha. So a monk by such and such name would come, and he will propagate the teachings in the north, it says. And of course, many of the arhats, Buddha's disciples. So that's why all the teachings came from the Buddha. Buddha is love. That's why we bow down. That's why we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. There is no Lamaism here. There is Buddhism here. You go straight to the Buddha, and Buddha is undisputed historical teacher. No doubt about that. Yeah, so the teaching definitely came from the Buddha. Okay, any questions here? Last question, if you have.
Oh, Ananda lost. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a simple question.
Yeah.
Insight's effectively expedient, isn't it, really? It's an expedient way to come to understanding versus experiential. Like you can exhaust conditions through experience and understanding and doing stuff to get the undoubtable knowing that there is a better way, which takes a long time. Whereas the insight meditation, obviously, you can come to realizations quite quickly. So,
Yeah, they say you cannot. No, insight realization does not happen quickly, unfortunately. Why? If you don't have merit, you can't get the wisdom. You cannot realize. You can intellectually understand it. You can talk about it. You can describe about it. But to have the comprehension, to realize it, gain insight, you have to have merit. That's why, like when we are taught in the Dharma, in the plan of overall strategy and structure of the path, we have to do all the preliminary practices. It's just lots of devotional, number of hundreds, thousands of many practices. For the first 13 months, before we are allowed to do karma body meditation, before we are allowed to do special insight, we have to do all the preliminaries. That means doing refuge 100,000 times, doing prostration 100,000 times, doing the confession of our past karma through the meditation of Vajrasattva 100,000 times, and the mandala offering and the guru yoga. We have to do all of those as a basic purification of our negative karma, and have merit to understand, comprehend, and digest these teachings, and then isolate ourselves from everyone, go in the cave, and then do the karma binding. And then in the karma binding, people of significant merit can realize glimpses of special insight. But to gain real insight, you have to have lots of samadhi, very good meditation, to the extent of having complete contentment, no craving, no desire, and totally want to remain in solitude, does not want to come to the people and the world. Why? Because you could not reconcile your aspiration with being in the path world. Others, so there you become pure renunciate, like the Buddha himself. He renounced everything. He went to somewhere that nobody knows him, nobody will find him, and he wanted very little interaction with people because we're so easily influenced by negatively each other. If there are positive encounters, would be good, but most people aren't positive enough to positive influence. So nature is a very powerful place to go and be quiet and meditate. So that yeah, insight is not easy to gain. Insight is the cream of the teaching. You can intellectually understand. Some people will understand emptiness teachings. And for most people, it goes over their heads. They misinterpret that wrongly, thinking it's nihilism, thinking it's pessimism. A lot of people, they sometimes wouldn't even teach emptiness to people who have no exposure to the fundamental basics of the Dharma. So that's why, but nevertheless, there are lots of intellectually gifted people in the world, even with how much Dharma, you can really start with emptiness and intellectually they'll get it. But then they have to start again, all again from the foundation to do the devotion practice to actually realize it. They say in this text I was reading, if I can find the section, or maybe can two persons came from two different directions. One came from the east and one came from the west. So these two people come together. The person coming from the east has something to tell, and then people coming from the west meet the person coming from the east in the middle of the road. He says, "What's there in the east you come from?" He said, "There's such a beautiful town, beautiful city." He explained them the amazing the town, the city is, and then the one coming from the west was completely surprised. So he felt wow. He was saying wow, because he just heard the story of the place he hasn't seen. But and even without seeing it, he was really delighted. Oh, I'm going there! I can't wait to get there. And then Buddha asked the monk, did the man who heard the story of the beautiful city in the east, when he told the one coming from the west, did he see the city? The monk said, no. What would it be like if he actually saw the city? If he can just listen about the city and he get this excited, what must be like when the person actually see the city? Oh, that would be very different, Lord. The monk said. Buddha said, likewise, the insight meditation, how much you hear, listen, and read, it looks very inspiring and very wonderful, but it would be totally different when you actually see it. So the Buddha says, so what has to the man coming from the west do? Would he just sit there and think that he saw the inside, saw the city, or he has to actually go and travel the rest that he hasn't traveled at all to reach the east? And then the monk says, yeah, he has to go. He has to go and see the city. See the city. But he thought the city was on the east. Every step he made was east, but there was no city. It's not that city wasn't there, but he still had many steps to take before he reached the damn city. So like that, the actual experience of insight meditation, you have to do lots of steps. You have to take a lot of steps. These are all the accumulation merit and all the karma merit, all the merit composition you have to do. And then, all the arhats, all the amazing Buddha, disciples Buddha, when they came, when they saw the truth, they're just incredible. They can multiply the body in 1,000. They can have half the body burning in fire and half the body dripping with water. They can show all kinds of miracles if the need be. During the Buddha's time, that was a daily spectacle, There goes him again, there goes him. Everybody's buzzing firework. Yeah, inside is you have to do the lots of walking. You have to do the walk. First, you have to meet someone in the middle of the road, tells you about the wonderful city there is. And then the Buddha said, so the person have to keep walking with that very aspiration to see the city. Never relapsing, never turning back. So that's the renunciation. That's the renunciation. Most people are stopping too long. and the place you think you're going to get is, it's not that near. You're taking steps, but you're still quite far. And so that's why actual insight is incredible. You can multiply your body into at least 100 simultaneously. You can be in 100 different places, do 100 different things just by having the first stage of bhumi, what call, because when you gain the first bhumi, which is gaining insight, you don't have gross afflictions. You don't have 118 gross afflictions are eliminated. So Buddha himself did that because otherwise he wouldn't be sitting under the tree that long. He already overcame all his gross afflictions. He definitely went to the east. He went and saw the city under the Bodhi tree. He saw the city under the Bodhi tree, and that's why people are flocking there now. Even 1,000 years ago, they can't. They just have to go to the holy site where that amazing sit took place. Where a person actually sat and gained the result. So insight is a very admirable goal to achieve, but it takes a lot of steps, a lot of merit to accumulate. Intellectually, yes. Intellectually, we can understand the insight. Some can't because it seems a little difficult. They can't get their head around it. There seem to be all contradictions and complications because they always interpret. They don't quite get the interdependent origination flavor. They think it's this or that type of thing. They don't realize how everything is interdependent. And but when you understand that everything is interdependent, there's amazing grace in you. Whatever happens, you don't see someone as the doer of it. Everything is dependent arising. So you do not take credit for it by yourself or blame yourself or blame others, and everything's interdependent. Incredible mandala. That's why in Tibetan Buddhism, the monks go and make mandalas. They create beautiful sand particles, colored sand. Colored sand, you could have in the size of this carpet. They can create this within, say, a couple of days. Just with 4 or 5 of them working together. And then they may do some prayers, rituals, and then it's amazing work of art. But quickly they'll sweep it away. They'll sweep the sand, and it's just maybe not even not a 2 liter full of the sand. There's no mandala. There was mandala, but there's no mandala. So to show that the mandala doesn't truly exist, So sand, the floor is more cause of the mandala, because without the floor supporting, there's no sand that can float and make a mandala. But even when those people who don't believe in this, when the communist army came from Tibet, China to Tibet, they walked over the mandala monks were creating. They put their feet over these. This religion is poison or something. Yeah, they don't see mandala there. You know what I mean? So incredible how. So it's teaching of them. The mandala is sand and color sand, monks doing it, and then even all that is conditioned is impermanent. They they do those things to teach impermanence. Because people have created a life or family or whatever, they think it's really good. That when anything happens, they all mourn and groan. They think that's terrible. And people don't get it. And then they suffer. And depression in the world is there because people are so attached to things as real as mind. If they don't, if they have the right view, they don't get depression as real and mind. So you can see how much mental of mental ill health. I don't call mental health because there's no mental health. There's only mental ill health. How much of the mental ill health is because of the wrong view, grasping to things as real and mind and permanent, when it is conditioned, when it is made out of many bits and pieces. They think it's unitarily, truly, independently real. And they're praying to the everlasting, eternal truth. Oh gosh. Eternal God, permanence. That's extreme view. There is no life, there's no karma, nihilism. That's another extreme. There's only Almighty God. He does everything. That's eternalism. So the Buddha, when they heard of it, he shook his head. Oh, no wonder why the world is so troubled. Because they're both holding many different wrong views, and all the 16 different wrong views, they're all subsumed into these two, eternalistic nihilist. And the middle way is how to practice, how to understand everything being dependently originated. Dependent origination is another word for emptiness, empty of independent existence. So therefore it's dependent. Like this. What is this? Now I can test you what you think this is. We are about to have lunch, This could be a ball, isn't it? Isn't it a ball? Could be, but what do you call now? This actually was originally a soup ball in the Nepal. They're not singing ball. It's not singing. I can't hear him singing. And only recently, now the 30, 40 years, I don't know more than that, maybe near to 60 years. When tourists come to Nepal, they they're touching everything. They're not only intrigued by the shape, they also think whether maybe then they make a hit, then they go, and then they like the sound and they start buying, and the local people start making these things for the tourists, and they call it singing bowl. Singing bowl concept is so you can see how conditioned things are. But this is not singing bowl. If it's truly exists singing bowl, it should be singing all the time. It's not singing.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I'm sorry, because it's dependent on the stick.
That's right. It's good. And then what else? If this is a dependent stick, then the stick should be doing that. Stick is not doing it. So even with the stick and the singing bowl together, there's no singing. So what else is dependent on? What else it is dependent on?
Ears.
Huh? Yeah, ears. Yeah, you can, I could be doing this, but there's no. They say hitting, but hitting to where? Yeah, hitting to the singing. I'm hitting here, but no singing. So I have to hit on here, but most importantly, you got to have your hearing on. Even the singing bowl, even the stick, even me hitting it is no singing bowl unless you have hearing. If you don't have hearing, which some people don't, there is no sound. This afternoon, we are going to focus on the Heart Sutra. It says there's no sound. So don't get too excited about singing bowl.
Sound is there.
Huh?
The sound is there when the moment it sings.
Yeah.
The sound is there.
That's
When you're
good.
deaf,
Yeah. But
the sound
that's
is
good.
there
That's good. That's when you and I have sound, when hearing, when the gong is hit, there is a singing, isn't it? But the dependent one, isn't it? Dependently originated, but not independently originated. But unfortunately, what people say is, people blame me hitting the gong. Or whatever, and then they think that is the cause of problem. They don't think I have no ear. See, we all the time we're blaming something as one and only cause of that, when there are multitude of causes, including our hearing. Alas, sentient beings don't see this and then blame each other, and then do all kind of reaction, and then to perpetuate the problem, and then create all kinds of suffering, and then still try to think one is only responsible. They themselves have no role in it at all, which is completely wrong view. And this is what the Buddha said, that all things have causes. He didn't say all things have one cause. Many causes, any conditions. But we try to find one miserable cause. They said the airplane crash, they're investigating the cause. I thought the cause is the flying. Sometimes the cause of landing is flying, sometimes the cause of crashing is flying. The just question is how it softly landed. And didn't land properly. We got crash, but actually the cause of that is a fly. If it didn't fly, it wouldn't crash at all. But human beings always nitpicking as one, as if it's going to solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. The airplane crash, and no matter what you find the cause of it, no matter what you try to point the finger to, is all of the thing that crashed and died is never reclaimable. We can't do anything. But yet we go around to run, barking at the wrong tree. The right tree is dependent origination, which incredibly is so merciful to everyone involved. It's dependent arising. That's the wisest way to tell. It's dependent arising. Okay. Means it's not independent. So you don't look for finite person or cause to give you some relief, as if there was a relief to find one misery. There is no relief. It's just trying to blame somebody. That's all. It's only going to make it worse. See, when you have the knowledge inside of everything dependent arising, you don't do the blaming. That's kind. That's incredible. That's the most compassionate thing you can do, is have this wisdom. We don't have wisdom, there's no compassion. Our compassion is pretty poisonous. Our ordinary compassion without wisdom is always getting us into more trouble. But compassion with wisdom secures you, and therefore there's incredible understanding that how everything is caused by a number of domino effects. And that is the insight meditation with compassion. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. We'll conclude here. Thank you for joining everyone online and everyone here, Ananda Buddhist Center. Next time you drive up this way, now you should drop by here. Lovely Sangha here. Thank you. We do the dedication merits of your giving your time and attention when maybe you have felt something that will twinkle the star. Usually we don't see stars. We can see all these other things. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Bye bye. How are you, Phil? How are you, Ben? How are you? Thank you for joining me.
Rinpoche.